Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." In the summer of 2015, I was associate rector at St. Luke's Episcopal Church in Long Beach, California. The church had recently partnered with an organization called World Relief, which itself operated under the umbrella of the National Association of Evangelicals. World Relief helped resettle refugees from around the world into new lives in America. But they were having trouble with one particular group of people, LGBTQ Ugandans. In their native country, these Ugandans had been outed, arrested, persecuted, and often rejected by family members. Uganda, you may recall, is the nation whose Kill the Gays bill almost became law. Many of those persecuted fled to refugee camps in neighboring Kenya, where they were also mistreated for their sexual orientation. After years of paperwork and applications, World Relief was able to bring a few of them to America. But when they were placed with the usual evangelical churches that took in other immigrants, some in those faith communities tried to convert them into being straight, or told them they were going to hell. One church in North Carolina, when they realized their newly arrived refugee was gay, simply bought him a train ticket going west and put him on board. It took World Relief a few weeks to find him. Enter St. Luke's Long Beach. We were known for being gay-friendly, so World Relief contacted us, plus a few other churches, and some parishioners took on the monumental task of helping to resettle these frightened, scarred people. One of their true champions was a church member named Tom Crow, a gay 6'4", gray-haired man in his 60s with a booming voice. As more LGBTQ Ugandans arrived, Tom, along with others at St. Luke's, drove them to so many appointments and job interviews that he wore out his VW and had to buy a new car. Whenever the refugees met with resistance at a local agency or business, Tom's booming words would thunder down, "May I speak to your supervisor, please?" As a result, some refugees began calling him the General. But others gave him the nickname Jaja, which means grandfather in Lugandan. Over these past 9 years, more than 25 Ugandan refugees have been resettled through St. Luke's efforts. And though LGBTQ, some have had children of their own. Whenever they do, Tom, or Jaja, gets to hold them and care for them, and he's considered part of the family. One of the sweetest images I see on Facebook is the occasional photo of Tom holding a newborn infant in his arms. The latest was September 12th. Above the photo, he wrote, "Another Ugandan American baby greets the world. Welcome Kadi, short for Kadmiel. Check the Bible." The baby is named after a man in the book of Nehemiah who returns to Israel from captivity in Babylon, one of the Levites in charge of the songs of thanksgiving to God. Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me. I just told you a rather long story to illustrate a very basic point. It matters to God how you treat people. Now, I don't know what some of you think about refugees, immigrants, Africans, gays, lesbians, or even evangelicals. But how you treat them is how you treat God. And how you treat children is arguably even more indicative of who you are. Because children have a built-in vulnerability, a trust in others, and a sense of wonder about the world. So I think what Jesus is really trying to tell his disciples in today's gospel reading is, don't walk along this road arguing about which one of you is the greatest. Because the greatest among you is not the one who has the highest status or the seat at my right hand. No, the greatest among you is the one who protects those who are vulnerable, who affirms others' trust in you and in the world's potential for goodness, and the one who cherishes wonder and delight. And going after status or wanting to be considered important is in many ways the opposite of having a vulnerable, trusting, wonder-filled soul. Early on in our relationship, I asked William whether he wanted to have kids. In his usual fashion, he deflected the question and asked, "Well, what about you? Do you want to?" "Oh no," I said immediately. "Oh no, I have enough trouble taking care of myself." "But what about you?" He replied, "Well, I feel like I'm already taking care of a child." But I've sometimes had the sneaking suspicion that he did want kids. The way he sort of long-distance adopted my grandnephew, Oscarito, in Chicago, contributing to his college fund each year and sending him cards on important occasions, even though he'd only met him twice in his 14 years of life. And he loves being a teacher, loves interacting with his students, a firm, demanding, but fair instructor who sometimes gives advice on love and relationships. Great advice, actually, if you lived in the 19th century. There are times when I wonder how it would have been to have children. When I express this to friends who are parents, they quip, "You can have mine for a while." So children are on my mind this morning as a result of today's gospel reading. And I can't help but feel that we've not done a good job of welcoming them here at St. Luke's because look around you. I realize this is a problem in many Episcopal churches these days, but I haven't been the kind of leader, and we haven't been the kind of faith community who prioritizes having them in our midst. I mean, let's be honest. This is not just about the lament I often hear, "Oh, we're aging as a church and we're going to die soon if we don't get young families in here." Well, while that may be true, I worry that such thinking makes a commodity out of children and young people, while also implying that older folks are not so important. No, for me, the reason to pray for and work towards having children in our church is because they, in and of themselves, are to be cherished and regarded as precious. And generations of children are growing up without a faith community to support and guide and celebrate them. Some have sports, others have school clubs, but there's something unique about growing up among adults who care about you, learning of God's love and Jesus' teachings, and practicing selflessness through service that is not tied to a school requirement for service credits. I can still hear dearly departed Ann White's voice demanding, "What about the kids? What are you doing? What are you going to do for them? Why don't we have a Sunday school? Where is our youth group?" She brought this up at every opportunity, even after I'd been here a week. Even in meetings that had nothing to do with kids, like a buildings and grounds strategizing session. But hers was a voice crying in the wilderness. We couldn't or didn't listen, and she gave up after a few years. "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes not me, but the one who sent me." I know a good number of you are parents. Never having been one myself, I can only imagine it. That it's maybe like a line from my favorite hymn, "They cast their nets in Galilee," about the peace of God. To paraphrase, children can fill your heart brimful and break it too. What a thing to raise a child. There are so many off-ramps on their journey that can get them lost or lead to dead ends, and it's often out of your control. But they can also give your life a sense of purpose and bring so much joy. God bless you, parents. May there always be more joy than sorrow. We had a baptism at the Saturday service a few weeks ago, an infant. And at first I didn't want to hold him while doing the baptism because I worried I would drop him. But at the last minute I changed my mind, and one of the moms put him in my arms. And just like that, I felt this connection, this immediate love. And all I wanted to do was hold him close and say lots of happy things to him. And it is that instant affection Jesus calls us to. That welcome of children and of people in general, because it's a sacred bond. It's our divinity responding to theirs. When I see images or videos of children in war-torn areas who are wounded or dead or screaming that they want to die, I find it repulsive. It is a blasphemy against God to hurt a child, and yet it happens every day. Yet I must admit, there are times when I get angry at those friends who insist on posting such videos or images on social media to call our attention to these atrocities. Perhaps like you, I don't want it in my face. I'd rather look away. But again, there is that voice of Jesus. Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me. And we are convicted once more. Because I don't think Jesus was just referring to the children in your own family or your friends or neighbors' kids. This world needs so many more Jajas than we have on offer. People who help strangers from halfway around the world find safety and new life. At the risk of ending these children's stories on a maudlin note that might elicit, and deservedly so, your endless teasing, I close with a few lyrics from a song by John Denver called Rhymes and Reasons, which remind us how crucial to our survival it is that we cherish our children. Though the cities start to crumble and the towers fall around us, the sun is slowly fading and it's colder than the sea. It is written, from the desert to the mountains, they shall lead us. By the hand and by the heart, they will comfort you and me. In their innocence and trusting, they will teach us to be free. For the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness would clear a cloudy day. And the song that I am singing is a prayer to non-believers. Come and stand beside us. We can find a better way. God bless our children. Amen.